Seductive poison, it's in your veins, so sweet you can't resist. Feel the heat, this thrill is ultra cheap. Freezing cold down to the soles of your feet. Injected, the main line is open. Sniff at the air. What's that unholy scent? Seductive poison. Lie down on my gurney, relax. What's that pinch my pet spider's bite? His venom is lightning fast. Seductive poison. You love it, you need it. Hold on, baby, it's a sweet, sweet ride. Close your eyes. Say goodnight.
Howdy, gang. And just first off, I'm going to let you know this is going to be a little bit shorter than I expected it to be. I really wanted to come out with a bang with this new version of Seductive Poison. However, I am just not feeling my best, and this has been going on for the past week. I sure hope I'm feeling better next week for Christmas. Also, I was supposed to have Hope on here with me, and I'm a little bit concerned about Hope because she is not here, and she was last active on Messenger 3 hours ago. I left her another message, told her that I was going to go ahead and get started. And if she has fallen asleep or something like that and she misses the show, I'm not going to be mad or anything. Things happen. But I am going to check up with her again after I'm done with this, just to make sure she's okay, in case she doesn't pop in here. I was also hoping to have Candace on here as well, but Candace is out of town, and she told me she wouldn't make it back in time to do the show. She wanted to, but her and Chris are doing some important things. So you guys might be stuck with me. You guys and gals might be stuck with me for the duration of this debut episode. Hey, the poet. Yes, Merry Christmas to you as well, sir. And Merry Christmas to anybody else that's watching. I appreciate you coming in here to see what I'm going to be talking about. I've been MIA for about the last couple of weeks, pretty much, dealing with this illness or whatever the heck it is. And I'm not going to go into details about work and about who it was between. But there's some trouble brewing at work between me and another coworker. So, hi, Drake. Happy holidays to you as well. So we'll move on from that and get on to something a little bit happier. And what I'm going to be talking about here in a few minutes is, I had planned on having somebody else with me, so it might just be me telling this and then getting off here because I don't want to ramble and bore you guys and gals out there. But what I had talked with Hope about this first episode being about partially was a fantasy Christmas gift. And mine's going to be horror related, but it doesn't have to be horror related. If money was no object, what is one gift that you would like to have above all other gifts? And those of you that are in the chat, if you want to bring up something that would be your fantasy gift, and pardon me, I'm eating soup because I didn't quite get finished with my dinner before I came on here. Those of you that watch me quite a bit know that a lot of times I eat on here. So I'm going to get to that in just a second here. But I did want to let everybody know that the watch along movie for this Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Don't Open Till Christmas. That was chosen by a poll. So you guys and gals that voted, you voted in Don't Open Till Christmas as the next watch along movie. Again, that's starting Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. So hopefully, now next week's going to be a toss up about how many, even if I'm feeling good, because we've got Christmas Eve and Christmas right there. And then we've got a few days, and then we've got New Year's Eve and New Year's, so it's always kind of busy there at the end of December and starting into January. Me and Steve go out of town to visit family and stuff like that. So, and we do that on both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But I'll try to do something, try to put something out there for you guys. That's a good one to post. You say you would like a Dawn of the Dead poster signed by the cast and crew. And I assume you mean the original Dawn of the Dead, right? The poet. I wanted to put that up there because that's a very, very good one. Very good one, in my opinion. But I want to let you know that there are several different ways that you can support me in the channel, and it won't cost you a dime. And one of the ways is by subscribing. There's never a bad time to subscribe to either my channel or anybody else's channel out there. There are lots of wonderful channels out there covering a variety of topics. I think there's topics and streams and videos for every taste and every hobby and what have you. You can even learn how to fix your car or fix water pipes or whatever through YouTube videos. But you got to be discriminate, though. I will say that. But once you subscribe, here's something else you can do. You can hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content I've got coming out. Because most of you guys and gals that come on here regularly know that I am terrible sometimes about getting the promotion up for items in advance like I should. I do have, that reminds me though, I do have an upcoming movie munchies for Billy's Black Christmas Cookies. And be sure to tune in. That's going to be the first Sunday, I think it's the 28th after Christmas. I really wanted to do it before Christmas. I just spilled soup all over myself. But it didn't quite work out for me to be able to do that. But the first Sunday after Christmas, I'm planning on doing that, okay? So you can also hit the like button for things that you especially enjoyed. And heck, if you like it all, hit that like button all across the board, folks. And here's one more thing that you can do to support me in the channel. It won't cost you a dime. Won't cost anybody you tell about the channel a dime. And that's by sharing my channel with friends and family members that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out. Okay. And that's all the advertising and promoting of my channel. Um, and now I've lost everybody but one person. That's probably the poet. God bless him. Um, Drake, you say, had they ever done a Christmas horror movie about elves? I believe there is a Christmas horror movie called Elves, Drake. Um, keep me honest there, the poet. There is one called Elves. I have never seen it personally, but I should, try to seek it out. Um, but let me talk about my fantasy gift. As most of you know, I am a huge, 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 huge fan of the original Evil Dead trilogy, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. So, kind of in line with what the poet said, I would want an original Evil Dead poster signed by everybody. Now, I have a reprint poster that is signed by Mr. Sam Raimi, and I will treasure that forever and ever and ever. But it would be so cool. And, I have some of the other people that were in it. It's signed on different things. Bruce Campbell signed a picture that Steve had gotten for me. The ladies of the Evil Dead, I got them to sign something a few years ago. Danny Hicks, I got to sign something. Of course, he was from Evil Dead too, but um, Ted Raimi, I've met him, and um, I didn't get him to sign anything at the time because I already had something signed by him. Um, it was supposed to be or it was some Joxer like arm shields or whatever you want to call them that were. It had a COA with it and everything, so I assume it's real. And the signature looks like Ted Raimi's. Uh, but they were supposed to be screen used for Xena Warrior Princess. So I do have those. I have them somewhere, and he had signed them. So I got a picture with him, and then I have a picture with all the Raimi brothers. I have a picture with Sam and Ted and Ivan, but it's not signed, but I do have it. But that is what I would want as if like I said, if money was no object, if I could have anything that I wanted for Christmas. Now, that's a horror related thing. That's a tangible thing. The poet, you said, what's everyone's favorite Christmas movie non horror? That's hard for me because I like so many of them. I would have to say, though, even though I like a variety of them, it would have to be It's a Wonderful Life, the original black and white It's a Wonderful Life, the poet. That is a movie that I don't know how that movie slipped under my radar. Um, it is an absolutely wonderful, very heartfelt movie. So, the poet, what's yours? What's your favorite non-horror Christmas movie? Or Drake, if you want to chime in there. Um, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some other things, some non tangible things. Any version of A Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol's an excellent movie. Do you even like Mickey's Christmas Carol? And I'm not being facetious. I love Mickey's Christmas Carol too. I like Scrooge because I love Bill Murray for one thing. But some non tangible things, if money and you know the likelihood of these things not being so far out there of happening, if it could, possibly happen, you know, peace between everybody. And people are probably saying, yeah, yeah, Daniel, that's never going to happen. That's a big fantasy gift. Um, but I think anything is possible. I just wish that people would not, and this kind of goes back to what happened to me at work or what's been happening to me at work. Um, Sometimes people just don't like you for reasons that you may never ever figure out why they don't like you. Um, but they just continuously um, are disrespectful and say the most hurtful things to you when all you're trying to do is do a job. Um, so, I would love for the whole entire world, I know that's a tall order, but I would love for the entire world to be able to at least be kind. Like I say at the end of most of my streams, be kind to one another. And you can be kind to one another and still blaze that trail. You don't have to walk on people to blaze a trail. You don't have to put other people down to blaze a trail. You can do it just on being you and showing what you've got to offer. So, um, and another thing, that nobody would go hungry, you know, not grown-ups, not children, not animals, that everybody has a warm home to come home to. you know you're not sitting out in the rain and the cold and the sleet and the snow and thunderstorms and what have you. um that nobody would be homeless, that everybody would always have a home to come to. And that, I know all got got to go sometime, but I wish we could all, pass away from just natural deaths, old age, instead of these diseases or murders or, mass shootings or whatever, and that goes back to kind of the there's so much anger and hate and resentment between different people in the world, and it's just really sad, just really sad. What gift that I got for Christmas do I remember still? Okay, I got to tell this one to Poet. That's a good question. Whenever I was about, I don't know, maybe 12 or so, my parents got me a black and white. Yeah, it was black and white, but it was mine, all mine, all mine, and I loved it. They got me a black and white 13-inch TV for my room. So then I could watch anything I wanted in my room. I didn't have to be restricted by what my parents were watching. Um, Another one is when our family got their first VCR. I mean, yeah, that was the family's gift, but it was a source of enjoyment and happiness for every member of my family. It opened so many doors that had been shut before. And it did this for a lot of people. It definitely did this for a lot of people. Now, those suckers were high when they first came out. They were expensive. My family never got the top loading VCR. We got a front loader when we got one. Um, but I remember Dad surprising the whole family with that, and it was just wonderful. We was like, first thing me and my brother were saying is, when can we go to the video store and get movies, to put in this sucker? Now, the newness wears off. That shiny new quality will rub off of anything. PlayStation 2 that you got and you had for years. I'm sure my brother remembers his first, video game systems. I know me and my brother both were very excited when we got our first Nintendo. Now we never did have Atari or anything like that. Now my uncle Scotty, and when he was still living at home, because he was the youngest of my dad's brothers, and my grand and papa got him an Atari one year. And we thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread because we hadn't seen what we have now, of course. The Nintendos and the PlayStations and the GameCubes and the Sega Genesis and all that stuff. That was way far into the future at that time. So I thought Frogger was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I used to love Frogger and Pong and all that stuff. Kids now would probably say, "What in the heck? What are you talking about?" Um, but sometimes I wish for that simplicity again. We've come a long way, but and that's all good. But sometimes I long for that simplicity, that time where there was Commodore 64 computers and Atari game systems and all that stuff. I remember me and my cousin Heather playing early computer games. There was a Cookie Monster game where you would count the Cookie Monster cookies and stuff like that. It was very primitive, but we loved it. The old game, I don't know if anybody remembers Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. We loved that game too. And then, when Nintendo came along, me and my brother would play Mario Brothers. And then when the Super Nintendo came out, Super Mario Brothers, Punch Out and Super Punch Out, Duck Hunt with the little gun and stuff. I mean, when I think about all that stuff was just really so much fun. It was so much fun. Thank you for all the questions, to Poet. I really appreciate that. Because, like I said, I was hoping to um, have have somebody else on here with me to bounce ideas off of. Um, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check on Hope because I'm worried about her. She has not been active for 4 hours on Messenger, and that's not like her. I haven't heard from her since late last night. I hope Hope is okay too. Because usually when she says she's going to be on something, she's here and ready to go. Um, so I meant to have this be a little bit longer, folks, but the poet, if you have any other questions, feel free to, throw them out there and I will answer them before I get off here. And hopefully by the next show, um, I'll be able to have Hope. Maybe Candace will be able to be on here and we'll have the three of us doing stuff. If there are any women that want to help me co-host any of these shows. Now, guys, I know it says no men allowed, but that's just in the co-hosting positions. We can have men guests on here. So if any of you guys want to be guests on here, just let me know and I'll get you set up to be a guest on one of the upcoming shows. How are my pets doing? They are all doing fantastic at the moment, the poet. Thank you for asking. I don't know if you were in here you probably were when I mentioned little Ozzy, my dormouse. And if people don't know what a dormouse is, let me this gives me an opportunity to talk about him. Now mine is a darker color, um, but I'm gonna like share my screen here. Hey, Gory Tiger. Okay, so these are pictures of dormice. And my little Aussie is more like this grayish colored one. He's not like light brown or anything. And they're nocturnal. And they're usually found in Africa, Asia, and Europe. But people breed them here in the United States now, though. Um, and they have a fantastic tail that looks like a squirrel's tail. They're a member of the rodent family. They're nocturnal animals found in Africa, Asia, and Europe. They're named for their long, dormant hibernation period of 6 months or longer. But if you have them as pets, they're not going to do that unless it gets really cold in your house. And I don't want to hear about the Romans eating dormice, but little Ozzy has a tail that looks very much like a squirrel. And so that's why I refer to him as Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Um, Now, I had to get him from Texas, and I had to, um, I had to have him shipped by transport to my house. And there was only one place called Best Exotics that ships the animals to your home. They use private transport, and there was a guy, Timothy, that brought Ozzy to me. And he was very nice. We stood out there and talked. And at first I was scared because they brought little Ozzy in a wooden enclosure with like chicken wire on it. And he had food and water in there, of course. And Timothy, the transport guy, said, you can, take him on in the house and, you know, check and make sure everything's okay with him. And at first I could not find him because these guys and gals are tiny. They're tiny. But I did find him, and he doesn't come out until it gets dark, and he's sort of shy and stuff, but he's a lovely, lovely creature. And, I don't know if I would recommend them for young kids, but older kids and adults that are looking for an unusual, exotic pet, I think they would make wonderful pets. Um, but I guess I'll stay on here for about 30 minutes. That'll be a few more seconds. If anybody has anything else they want to ask before I get off of here, again, I apologize that I didn't have a co-host with me. Trust me, I'm going to check up on Hope. But I do want to thank Gory Tiger and the Poet and Drake for being in here in the chat and keeping me company for this debut episode of Seductive Poison. And I also want to thank those of you that maybe were watching along but didn't feel comfortable, or you were using a device where you were unable to get in the chat. I thank you for being in here as well. And for those of you that will watch this on the replay, I appreciate you as well. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys and gals. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And so I guess without further ado, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And here's my little special holiday message for you folks. If you've been having some issues with a friend or family member, please, please reach out to that person, because you may have said, hey, I don't want you to reach out to me. I don't want you to talk to me. So take a moment this season and reach out to somebody that you had a falling out with, or a disagreement with, and say, hey, man, or gal, don't you think it's time we, buried the hatchet, try to see if we can get things back to a more even playing field? And that is what I wish for each and every one of you this holiday season and every day. I want everybody to be happy. I want them to be healthy. I don't want you to have any regrets, folks. And if you love Ozzy like I do, get out there and blast some Ozzy, because when I'm feeling bad, no matter what's making me feeling bad, listen to a little Ozzy always makes me feel better. And I love each and every one of you guys and gals out there. If I don't talk to you guys before, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I guess peace out for me. And I'll see everybody next time.
Seductive poison, it's in your veins. So sweet, you can't resist. Feel the heat, this thrill is ultra cheap. Freezing cold down to the soles of your feet. Injected the